While quieter than of late, November still packs a solid punch with its new indie games hitting your favourite storefronts. Welcome to GetIndieGaming, where today we show off 10 indie games out this November 2021 deserving of your attention. Starting at number 10, Time Loader comes out on November 3rd on PC via Steam and GOG. It's a story-driven, physics-based puzzling platformer, and while there's no doubting the popularity and abundance of games from within this genre, on the strength of the demo, which at the point this video goes live is still available to download from its Steam homepage, this has the potential to be another little indie game darling. Time Loader sees you play as an adorable remote-controlled robot car. Having been sent back to the year 1995, your role is to alter the existing timeline to help save the owner of the robot from a terrible accident. Said to come with multiple endings, where the choices you make back in the past do indeed change the shape of events in the future, honestly left us wanting much, much more. At number 9 and out on November 4th, Where Cards Fall launched onto the Apple Arcade back in late 2019, and while the platform so far hasn't shown as bright as it might, this game remains one of its standout hits from the service, and with it receiving the 2020 Apple Design Award too, so it's great to see this one coming to PC and the Switch. It's an experimental puzzle game. While naturally enough originally designed to be viewed and played on mobile and tablet devices, this port has been reworked and retooled to make use of a custom control format for both PC and Switch platforms, with it also coming with additional animations new to the game. With more than 50 spatial and environmental-based puzzles, together with a touching story, it's honestly great to see this jumping off the Apple service to be seen and played by a much wider audience. Next up, and at number 8, and coming from publisher No More Robots, Let's Build a Zoo on the face of things is yet another tycoon management sim. Funnily enough, players are able to build a zoo with the usual sights and sounds you would expect to find within such an attraction. The aim here is to attract money-spending customers, all the while growing your business. However, having already played much of the game with a key provided by the publishers for review purposes, there's lots more going on here behind the scenes, which can, if you so choose, turn this sim somewhat deliciously dark. Not only are you able to dabble in a little bit of DNA mashing, where you can stitch together over 300,000 different types of animal, and in so doing you can create such things as a pandowl, a giraffe pant, and many more oddities besides. In any case, this oddly dark and yet delightful looking game comes out November 5th for PC. At number 7, To the Rescue is set to offer players an opportunity to build and run a rescue dog centre, with all the associated highs and lows of such an endeavour. The team behind this have painstakingly researched how these shelters work and operate in real life, with such knowledge and expertise having been interwoven within the game. The developers have also gone on to say this game is every bit as much about raising awareness as it is about offering players a good time. 20% of the profits from the game are said to be pledged to a non-profit organisation, the Pet Founder Foundation, whose mission is to prevent pets from being euthanized, something of which is included within this title. While To the Rescue may look all cute and bubbly from the outside, as we've just alluded to, this game will tackle subjects and give players cause to consider some of the less sunshiny aspects of the work these shelters must undertake. To the Rescue is coming to PC November 4th, with a Switch port expected at some point in the future. And at number 6, a game we've been playing for the past few days under an embargo, and while we're not yet really able to say too much about it, Demon Turf is shaping up rather nicely. Now this game puts you in control of a demon girl called Beebs, with a 3D platformer that's chock full of nasties and critters, although it's equally stuffed to the brim with humour and a cheeky sense of style. The platforming is really solid, as are the controls, which often lets down these kind of 3D platformers. You're able to pull off some really clever platforming combinations together with a physics-driven combat system that really does work quite well. The game also uses a different approach to checkpoints, where you're able to place them here and there about the place, wherever you want, which again, well, it just seems to work. Demon Turf is headed to PC via Steam and the usual consoles on November the 4th. Next up, and at number 5, the developers and team behind Undungeon took home close to $117,000 US, or just under 85,000 UK pounds, in a Kickstarter campaign which finished all the way back in 2017. Back then, as it still does, it promises a classical 90s-inspired RPG with a colourful and detailed pixel art. The real-time nature of the combat looks suitably pleasing. Undungeon comes out on November the 18th, with a demo to play today on the Steam store page. You can find a link to this and all of the games featured here within the video description. Next up at number 4, and coming to PC via Steam as well as onto the Xbox and Switch platforms on November the 2nd. Tunche could end up as something rather special. It may well scratch the particular itch we have for a decent beat-em-up. All of us here grew up playing these kind of games from the SNES and Mega Drive onwards, although in recent times there hasn't been too many of these kind of games to get excited about, with the exception of Streets of Rage 4 and perhaps River City Girls. In Tunche, with its exceptional art style, there's an opportunity for solo effort, although it's the 4-player local co-op that gets our vote, and maybe the only version of the game we end up playing. There are 5 different characters to choose from, with boss fights along the way. The distinctive graphics and animations are all hand-drawn, with the 4 different in-game worlds also being procedurally generated. Much of this is steeped within Peruvian myths and folklore, and we're looking forward to seeing how these features have been woven into the game. In a few words, Tunche looks exceedingly stylish. And onwards into the top 3. At number 3 and headed into early access, and breaking the trend for early releases this month, with it coming out November the 26th. Lens Island started as a solo weekend project from developer Julian Ball around 2.5 years ago. Since then, Julian has developed a small studio with the aim of delivering a game in which players can truly play and develop a style that's uniquely theirs. It's certainly a grand endeavour, although from the looks of things, the emergent gameplay will likely be most enjoyable to players wanting a hardcore dungeon crawler alongside elements of farming and home building. For me, well, I'm most interested to see how Lens Island's home building and farming mechanics all come together, be this in the form of what looks like large-scale production-based outfits, to those smaller growing opportunities you can apparently find about the place. I know someone here within our team will be having none of that, with their game likely to only really feature scrapping and delving headlong into the island's dungeons. That said, you can't, I assume, go fighting on an empty stomach, so they're going to have to cook and make a few things in the gardens along the way. Either way, there's still a long time to go before the 1.0 release, with this expected to stay in early access for between 2 and 3 years. So while we're here, over to you. What do you think of this concept, and will you be picking this up to play now or when it comes out in full, whenever that might be? Let us know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. Headed to Android, iOS and PC at number 2, Moncage first popped into our radar a little over a year ago, although to be honest, we had forgotten about it until a week or so ago. A gentle email nudge dropped into our inbox, and with it we found ourselves once more mouth wide open at how jaw-droppingly good all of this looks. In case this is new to you, Moncage is a puzzler where players change the perspective of 3D scenes, and in so doing, you're able to line up a particular view in just the correct way to solve the puzzle at play. Now all of this sounds deceptively simple, and yet we suspect the reality will be somewhat different. Again, what this game is looking to do feels reasonably hard to explain. The trailer and other footage we've seen of this does a better job of articulating what players will really be doing, all wrapped together within a story that's told in the hidden pictures dotted around the 50 or so scenes within the 60 or so puzzles. I suspect this will be one heck of a head-scratcher in places, and by goodness, doesn't it look utterly delightful. At the number 1 slot, the game we're most excited about playing this November 2021 is Unpacking, which is headed to PC via Steam, GOG, and Humble. Described as a Zen-like experience, and having spent time with the recent demo, there's no denying this will be a game all set to offer an opportunity to unwind and calm down from the daily stresses affecting us all. The puzzle aspect, as you unpack items from boxes, is best thought of as a block-fitting mechanic, although while that in itself can produce some highly rewarding elements, for us, we played this demo as a collective in a made-up sort of couch co-op kind of vibe. The real winner is what we've seen hinted at the backstory, and not just from the clues you find about the person's life you're unpacking, but also within their overall circumstances, which again hints at something that's relatively intimate. We understand the game comes with 8 house moves, and thankfully, for a game such as this, players will be able to take their time and unpack at leisure, given there are no timers, scores, or anything to force the pace onwards. Unpacking gets unboxed November the 2nd. With Unpacking bookending our picks of indie games to watch out for this November 2021, many thanks for watching. Please be sure to like the video, and if you're not already, subscribe to the channel with all of the notification bells turned on. You can also check out our new podcast, Access Point. There's a link down in the video description, and we'll see you next time for another indie game video.